It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Ew.
If you've watched us before, you know what we're going to do. If you haven't, we're just going to talk about movies, new releases, new developments in the world of movies, and a little bit of physical media roundup. But we are a little, like Corey's sister, a little late today. We meant to put this episode out yesterday. Today is Monday. I couldn't stop to get your reaction on that, because otherwise I was going to start laughing and now looking at you and hearing you.
It's great. Neither of us have sisters, by the way. We both just have brothers, so it's a safe area for us to just make jokes about each other's sisters.
Because we both love each other's moms, and like, oh my god, your mom is the best. And like, to say anything about Sue would just be criminal, so I'm like, I can't. Sue and Terry are off limits. We can't say shit like that. So it's just, Corey's imaginary sister, damn, I'd tap that.
Right.
Like, stuff like that. Anyways,
it's a lot of fun.
Corey's sister's late. We're also late. It is a Monday when we're recording, so sorry for the 5 of you that regularly listen to us. You're going to have to wait a little bit. But we'll get this episode up pretty quick. We're going to be talking about movies, obviously, but we did have a big Sunday, so it kind of pushed us into recording a little bit later. We had the Vikings absolutely being dismantled on Sunday Night Football by the Falcons.
Yuck.
God, that was horrible. We're not going to spend any more time on that than that announcement of it. But also we had the Emmys last night. So Corey, I know that's a big night for you. We'll have you unpack that a little bit later on. And we also had a pretty decent week of movies and some really good new releases that we got to visit. So Corey, before we get into all that, how have you been and what are we drinking today?
Yeah, it actually worked out well. We're doing it on a Monday to cover the Emmys. I feel like it would have been kind of late next week to go back to it. So
revisit.
Works out good. I had a great day yesterday of just watching football all day long. I did not leave my apartment. I just ate food and I drank and I watched football. And it was incredible. It was just another long week, and I'm just like, I just need this right now.
What is your go-to, like, football food? Like, what is your, or, like, football snack? Or you go to a football party or a watch party, Super Bowl party, what is the thing that you're looking for?
Buffalo chicken dip, 100%. that is one of the most
wings.
goated, like, fall foods, just, like, either that, like, football or, like, playoff baseball or anything. Like, or chips and salsa, like, in that range is, like, that's great.
The buffalo chicken dip that's still like in the fucking ramekin or whatever that it was cooked in, so it's still sizzling hot and it's just on the stove and the TV's in the way of the room, so you have to like, commercial break? Alright. And you just get like a helping of it. But,
incredible.
Yeah, it's the best. It simply is. What was your go-to drink of choice for yesterday?
I brought them over to your place last week, the grape ales from Liftbridge Brewing.
Which I think we've had on this, and I didn't like it when we recorded and had that for that episode. He also brought it over to my apartment last week, like you mentioned, to watch the Vikings Monday night game. And God, I just can't get through those. But then, like a little fucking fairy, you left me a little sweet treat in my fridge before you left. I'm going to leave one of these for you for when you want it. Mm-hmm. That's going to stay in the fridge until I move out. I just know it.
Or until I come over next time.
Or until you come over. You were just like you were pre-loading my fridge.
I think I had like 5 or 6 of them at your place.
Yeah, you killed a couple of them.
I was housing through, so that was good. But this week we're drinking from Venn Brewing Company out of Minneapolis. It is Tropicopia, which is a New England double IPA. Really good, not super hoppy. I don't know. I'm trying to like get more descriptive of what these taste like instead of being like, it's pretty good, we like it, or no, we don't really like it. But it's good. It's kind of got some fruity-ish flavors. It's 8.5%. So that's going to be fun to rip through this episode.
On the can it says sip, which if you've watched if you've watched or listened to us, you know that I don't like drinking slowly. Not that I set out to just demolish beverages. It's just I just can't sit with it. It needs to be gone. So 8.5%, 2 of them over the next hour and 20 minutes, give or take.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rough time at the very end of the tail end of this episode. But again, we're getting back to our Minneapolis or Minnesota beverages. This one coming from Venn Brewing Co. out of Minneapolis. So
we'll have a little surprise drink probably next week. I don't want to say what it is, but it'll be football themed.
Yeah, I saw it in the fridge before we started recording, and he was like, "We could have them for this week if we really wanted to." And then I opened the fridge, immediately saw what he was talking about. I'm like, "No, we cannot do that. I've had nothing but tortilla chips and popcorn here so far today, and those would absolutely slaughter me, and it would be a shit show." So without further ado, let's get into the movies that we watched this past week. The biggest release I feel like we had to look forward to was The Long Walk, coming from I almost said Lawrence Fishburne, coming from director Francis Lawrence. That would have been interesting. Director of Constantine, I Am Legend, and all of the Hunger Games films. Also Red Sparrow, which is a very underrated kind of spy thriller. This film starring Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Mark Hamill, Judy Greer, who was surprising to me. I didn't even realize that she was in the movie before she appeared, and Ben Wong, Charlie Plummer as well. This is a movie about it's The Long Walk. It's a group of teenagers going on this big walk in like a not post-apocalyptic, but a somewhat future. Actually, it's set in the past, but it's like a different world, and they're struggling with kind of outbreak, and it's been 19 years past this big war. From watching the movie, you can kind of glean it's kind of like a World War II that they're referencing. But as part of this nation, this lottery system, 18 to I'd say maybe 25, I forget what the age range is, kids get selected to partake in this long walk where they have to maintain a pace of 3 miles per hour until there's one left, and there's 50 of them. So it's you walk or you die. And going in with this premise in mind, and also the buzz that I've heard about this movie, I was really excited to watch it. What I don't think, the premise kind of alludes to it, but what I wasn't expecting in this movie was how grisly and brutal and just outright depressing some of this movie was. It surprised me. It caught me off guard. It's interesting seeing Francis Lawrence direct this movie after doing similar concepts kind of in like the Hunger Games movies of this lottery system of people that basically do something to the death, or they have to be the last one standing. And I think that this is his best work that I've ever seen him direct. I think that this is a very engaging, yes, very brutal, but also very emotionally resonant film. Some predictable elements, but overall, I was floored by this movie. Corey, before I get too far into it, what did you think of The Long Walk?
I agree, man. I really like this movie a lot. I think Francis Lawrence was a perfect person to direct this movie, because when I was watching it, it really does have that dystopian, whether it's future or whatever kind of time period it's set in, doesn't really matter. But he did that so well with, I know he didn't do the first Hunger Games, but all the other ones after that, he did such a great job with those. And I think you have that paired with a Richard Bachman book, which Richard Bachman is just Stephen King. It's a pseudonym.
Really?
Crazy. So this year we're getting 2 Richard Bachman movies with The Running Man coming out. I don't know why the fuck he did it that way, but it's a Stephen King book. And I haven't read the book, but I've heard a lot of interesting things. I've heard the premise, so I was just kind of growing anticipation for it just after hearing a lot of reviews come out too. I think last week we mentioned that, just a lot of people being like, this is really good. This is a very engaging movie that could have been very boring. It really does not leave the kids walking on this path, essentially just a straight line.
Yeah.
And you think about that, I think it's like an hour and 48 minutes, and that could be very dull and very boring, but the screenplay from J.T. Molnar, who directed Strange Darling last year.
Awesome movie.
So just another great pairing of like Stephen King book, J.T. Molnar, Francis Lawrence coming in, and then a great cast as well.
Really great team all around.
Yeah, absolutely. So it brought in all those great elements. And I think like the most interesting stuff for me in this movie, I mean, obviously are the conversations between these kids. And you kind of see this like brotherhood band, and just naturally from the get-go, like Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson kind of become buddies. And they form this little like musketeer group, which I really like. Ben Wong is in there as well. And just the conversations about whether this lottery is actually a choice, whether it's voluntary, because they're like, if this is your only way out to make money to like, survive and provide for your family, is that actually a choice, or is it something that we're kind of tricked into doing?
Yeah.
And just that back and forth I thought was great. Cooper Hoffman's really good. I liked him in Licorice Pizza a lot. I didn't love that movie as a whole, but I think he was really strong.
He was the best part, probably.
And he has a lot of great moments in this movie where you kind of peel back the layers of his character and his past, and especially his dad is a very essential part, which kind of feels like a Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of thing. I was just thinking of that during the movie.
Me too.
So I think that kind of brought out some other parts of his performance for sure. But the standout for me here, David Johnson, man.
100%.
David Johnson. I mean, we talked about it last year with Alien Romulus. He was one of the best parts of that movie as the synthetic android, and just really just captivating when you're watching him. And in this movie, he has just like this swagger to him. Just like, obviously it's called The Long Walk, and it's interesting to see each character's walk, like physically how they walk and their confidence. Some guys are kind of like nerdy and like hunched over.
Yeah.
David Johnson just confident. He's got his backpack strings. And the dynamic between the two of them was great. So there's just all the elements really came together in this movie for me.
Yeah, 100%. This is, unlike the Vikings, this is a team win. Like, this is an ensemble cast doing the most with somewhat of a limited premise. Yeah, you're just walking in. We have all these characters. We need to get from point A to B until all 49 of them drop dead. And one thing, yes, David Johnson, he is 100% the best part of this movie. Not that there's any really weak point for me in this movie. It's just, that is an Oscar-worthy nominated performance that I just saw from him. And yes, you got a great script coming from J.T. Molnar, but obviously it's based off the Stephen King book or Richard Bachman book, whatever the fuck you want to say. But one thing that is so true to Stephen King is the relationship between characters and kind of like this camaraderie, this friendship. It feels very Stand By Me at times. It feels very Andy Dufresne and Red from Shawshank at times. And David Johnson is like, not only how they walk, it's the mentality, the personality of these people that are going on this walk, what they're setting out to do. Obviously, they all want to win. They know that the odds are kind of against them, and there's a lot of good conversations about that throughout the movie. Of like, hey, what are you going to do? And it's like, well, I don't know. I didn't think I would actually get it, or I didn't think I'd actually win. The odds aren't in my favor, but I figured this is my best shot. And I like that conversation that you brought up too. Of like, well, it's just kind of a culturally accepted thing that you sign up or apply for this lottery system, but it's not something that you necessarily at this point choose to do. It's just, it's what's expected of you. People just do it because it's the one shot they have at it, getting out of the horribleness of their modern day life. I was so blown away by the performances here, especially, like I said, David Johnson. Cooper Hoffman is fantastic. He is kind of the lead, the protagonist, and with some of the conversation, you can kind of piece together a lot of his motivations as a character throughout the movie, and that there's some predictableness with that, but I also enjoyed it. I knew roughly before it was revealed to us within the story what his motivation was. I kind of could glean that from how he was acting, especially towards specific characters. Also, Mark Hamill, fucking have a day.
Great.
Go off. Also, never taking out the sunglasses, just being this absolute brute force, just symbol of, hey, discipline, do this. You boys got a heavy sack.
Got sack on you, boys.
Sack on. Just, his lines are awesome, but he plays it so perfectly. And there's sometimes where I hear his kind of grisly growl voice, and I'd be like, there's a little bit of the Joker in there. Like, I can kind of hear a little tinge of that. So all the performances are great. Judy Greer, the setup or the beginning of this movie where it's the kids, all these people getting dropped off to this walk, Judy Greer immediately endeared me, not only to the characters, but this entire movie had me sold. I was like, oh, this is a different kind of experience than I was necessarily expecting. I was expecting this to be a little bit more like, not lighthearted, but lighter than what I got. This movie is very heavy, and I wasn't 100% anticipating that, which, from the premise, maybe I was just completely stupid on missing out on that. But Judy Greer plays this role as a mother who is understanding of her son, played by Cooper Hoffman, going out and doing this thing and attempting to achieve greatness for their family, but also of a mom that's just so desperately worried. Like, the goodbye between them, goosebumps. Like, it's maybe still one of my favorite parts of the movie, and just like Mom, I gotta go, and she just wait, like...
She also has a great scene along the walk when they're walking by, and like it's a point where some family can like see them, and there's like Cooper Hoffman like wants to go see her, and like the fear in her eyes, knowing that like if he comes over he'll be disqualified or shot or whatever.
He'll get these warnings, and if they get to the third warning, he's dead.
Yeah, and just like because she's like kind of not cheering him on, but she's just like the appreciation for him, and then he starts to come over, and like the fear that she has, and like she is so good in the like 2 or 3 scenes that she's in the movie, this movie also felt a little bit weirdly like The Outsiders to me, where there's a young cast of like predominantly male actors that I could see just rising in stardom, and just all of them, like Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Garrett Waring was really good, Ben Wong, Charlie Plummer. It's just like a whole cast, and I'm like, wow, I could see you guys really going far here. The brutality in this movie, they don't shy away from it. It's not like we'll cut away and then you'll hear a gunshot. No. Like, you see, especially the first death.
You see the exit wounds on this.
There's a lot of brutal stuff, even with people walking, like their ankles are just twisted. Like, there's so many vile, gross things.
That one was the biggest reaction out of me because it's just so presented so matter of fact. It's just, oh, here's this, and there's no like ceremonious kind of build up to it. It's just, this is on screen, and it's like, holy, oh god. And it's also like, it's a joint folded the wrong way, and for me, I'm like, I'd rather die than see that or experience that. And just like, my foot hurts, and this guy's ankle is fucking caved in, and I'm like, shit. So yeah, the brutality is there, and also like, the movie is always kind of dour. And it sets up this thing of, yes, you get that brutality really early on. Before we really connect with a lot of these characters, you experience the harsh brutality of a lot of these deaths. And then it only gets worse because now you develop a relationship, a connection with these characters, and you're rooting for them, and then their deaths hit even harder. It's a hard watch. It's not a movie that I'm like, oh, I'm going to go watch this again in theaters, because I don't think I could stomach that. It's a movie that, like, zone of interest. Not that there's similar material, it's just the way it's handled. I'm like, this is maybe once every 5 years I'll rewatch this movie. Because it is a hard watch, and it does really tug on your heartstrings. I do think that just the main friendship between Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson is one of my favorite on-screen friendships I've seen in a long time. Granted, I will say that does play into one of my like quasi-negatives about the movie. It's a bit, there's some elements of the story that can be predictable just based on like, who are we focusing on? All right, well, who's going to go far in this not tournament, but this long walk? Who's really going to last? Well, it's probably the characters that we're getting to know and really growing with throughout this voyage. So there's some predictableness there. I really like not that I like the brutality, I appreciate what this film does with it, and it serves a purpose, and it's not just gory to be gory. It's like, this is a horrible thing. Mark Hamill, again, awesome. Just, I was so, from beginning to end of this movie, just blown away. I had such a great time, and I was expecting to like this movie, especially with all the positive word of mouth, but I, like, leaving the theater, I'm like, I love this movie. I didn't like watching the movie 100% of the time, but I loved this movie, and my wife, I called her on the way home, and she was like, how was it? I was like, yeah, I loved it. And she's like, you don't sound like you did. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. Like, 100%. Yeah. So it's a hard movie to recommend to people, but it is so well done that it's like, you know, go to appreciate what's put on screen, because it's such a great movie. And maybe it's just like the times that we're kind of experiencing as a nation right now. It makes some of the things on screen a little bit harder for me to watch, at least. But everything is so well done, so well handled. I really like the characters. It was just such a surprise for me this summer. Or early fall.
Yeah. I think if I had one little flaw with the movie, which really didn't bother me, but like I mentioned, the movie's about an hour, 48 minutes. I think because, which normally I'd be like, oh, that's a great short movie. Yeah. I think because of the repetitive nature of the movie, it really is just like on the walk with these characters, and I was invested in all of it. I think you could trim out just like 5 to 10 minutes. Make it just a little bit tighter. I think it's like hour and a half, hour 35. I think that's perfect. There's just some things where it's like, all right, we still have like quite a few people left, and like we could kind of get down to the last few here. Get there just a little bit quicker, but again, like it didn't bother me. It's just like we could get there. But yeah, this movie, I 100% agree. I think this is, when we get to our lists at the end of the year of like our highlights and like most underrated, I think this is going to be in that most underrated, because unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be in the Oscar conversation.
Except for maybe David Johnson, but I think still feels like a long shot.
Yeah, like it should be for sure, but I think this is a great movie. Go support it, because it's really solid. Performances are great. A lot of young stars that are rising in Hollywood. Really enjoyed it, and just great work from everybody all around. Yeah. So, big recommendation from us for The Long Walk. The other new release that came out this week was Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, which is coming a long time after the original. This is Spinal Tap.
41 years.
Yeah, and I had never seen This is Spinal Tap. We've talked about it a lot. I've seen some of the scenes, the Turn It Up to 11, whatever. I've seen all the stuff, but I never actually sat down and watched the movie, so I did that this week. It's directed by Rob Reiner. It came out in 1984. And essentially, Rob Reiner is playing a director, Marty DeBurgi, which I guess I was reading up, like he got that name by combining Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, and an Italian director. I'm spaced on his name right now, but just combining like a bunch of names into a director. Federico Fellini?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes. Okay. So he was just like, I just want to combine all these people into one. But so he plays this director that is covering this fictional band called Spinal Tap, who's coming over from England. They're doing a tour in the United States. They're not as popular as they are in England. They're kind of struggling a little bit. They, they're a very loud band. That's kind of their thing that they're known for. And the three main guys are Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer. And they have some of the funniest songs I've heard in a movie. Just the like great 80s rock songs, but also there's like a song called Sex Farm, which is great. And Big Bottom, love that one. That's pretty good too. So this is a movie that I feel like is very iconic and just everybody kind of knows. And I enjoyed the movie. I had fun watching it. It's really just a hangout movie. It's not
100%.
really story-based. It's not even really that character-based. For me, it was more of like it kind of dug into the impacts of being a rock star and like of being on tour and doing all these things. I know a lot of artists at the time, like Ozzy Osbourne and some members from Kiss and everything, were like, this is one of the most accurate representations of like being a musician and being on tour.
Yeah.
Even though it is coming at it from a comedic angle, just like the relationship between band members, how other people coming in can influence that. If one person's more passionate than another, like it does kind of dive into those things, even though it is kind of just like a funny hangout movie. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think for me, it's not like a classic. It's more of one that's iconic and I enjoy, but I'm not like, oh, this is fucking great. Mm-hmm. But it is one I'm really happy I've seen now.
Yeah.
I know you've seen it before. How do you feel about This is Spinal Tap?
It's a movie I've only seen once, but it was one of those movies that was like kind of a burning hole in like my back catalog of movies that I've missed out on, that I'm like, if I'm a true film fan, I should probably see This is Spinal Tap, because like you hear all the references and all the jokes, and they're kind of iconic at this point. I don't know how much with like the modern generation, but just they were iconic at least when they came out. So I watched it. I really liked it. This and Naked Gun are kind of two sides of the same coin for me, where there are spoof movies that I missed out on and I didn't really grow up with and have like a deep admiration for, but then watched them in my later years. Whereas like Naked Gun, I saw it in my later years and I outright fucking love that movie. I think I understand why it's a classic. I love that movie so much, and for me it just like hits me with nostalgia even though I'm new to it. Spinal Tap, still very funny. A lot of the jokes land. I like the music. I enjoy the camaraderie of the group, and I like Rob Reiner inserting himself into the movie too. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the movie works. It's just I didn't have as much of a connection to it as I did like with A Naked Gun or something like that. So it's a movie I've really appreciated over time. I haven't obviously rewatched it in a while. I'd probably say the last like 3 or 4 years. But it's a movie I remember fondly liking. It's not my favorite Rob Reiner movie. Which I might have to ask you, just because we rarely get to talk about a Rob Reiner movie coming to theaters, so I might have to ask you what your favorite Rob Reiner movie is after we talk about Spinal Tap too. But This is Spinal Tap, I think, is a pretty good spoof movie, just maybe it's not the most, like, it doesn't hold up necessarily for me as best as some of the other 80s, like, big slapstick.
I think the best thing about it for me was it feels like it was very ahead of its time in terms of the mockumentary, or the rockumentary, as they call it in the movie. But I think because we're so used to that style of storytelling now with like The Office and Parks and Rec, like you see that in so many shows and movies of the mockumentary and doing that, it doesn't feel like people were maybe ready for it yet in 1984.
I agree. And we do not get Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, if not for This is Spinal Tap. And Walk Hard is one of my favorite comedies of all time. But it builds off of what This is Spinal Tap really created, and also like what Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is a ridiculous title, but it's perfect. We don't get that movie if we didn't have This is Spinal Tap. This movie really like set the stage, no pun intended, for a lot of shit to come, especially within comedy, and I think it handles it really well. Again, just doesn't like nostalgic. It doesn't resonate with me as much as I necessarily would want it to, but also it's a movie from 41 years ago. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about kind of the second one and how that maybe delivers on that.
Yeah. I saw Spinal Tap 2 this morning, actually. And I tried to buy my ticket online before I went to the theater, and it didn't work. It said there was an error. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get my ticket at the theater. Spinal Tap 2 is not going to be crazy on a Monday morning, so should be fine. And then I get to the theater, go to the kiosk, try and get my ticket. Error, not working. I'm like, all right, go to another kiosk. Error, not working. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to go to a human being. So I go up to the thing, and I'm like, hey, can I a ticket for Spinal Tap 2? He's like, clicking around on his fucking pad. He's like, yeah, screen's not working here. And it was the radio. He's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I can get some backup up top here. I'm like, okay. Guy comes over, tries it on his screen. He's like, I can't get this to work.
I'm gonna do the exact same thing that he was doing, but just now tell you that.
Another guy comes out, he's scratching his head. He's like, you could just like write on a ticket that he's seen Spinal Tap 2. And meanwhile, like the movie started in like 2 minutes because I was already a little bit late. And I'm like, kind of like, okay,
yeah.
And I was like,
give me the paper.
I was like, if you guys need to like reset the thing, I can come back out afterwards. Like, I will pay for a ticket. Like, I genuinely will do that. I'll go see the movie, come back out, pay for it. Dude's like, just go see it, sit wherever you want. And I was like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So, saw Spinal Tap 2 for free.
Where'd you see that?
Imagine Egan. So I don't know if
one of our favorite theaters.
Yeah, it was great. They've never really had issues like that before, so hopefully they got it figured out. I don't know. But saw this movie for free anyways. But this is kind of more of the same for me. I enjoyed this movie a good bit. It's pretty quick. Both movies are like an hour, 20-some minutes. So
for a spoof comedy, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. They don't need to be more, don't need to be less. But you get the team together. Rob Reiner directs again. You get that main trio coming back. And the band essentially is reunited after a 15-year break. They're coming back to do one final show. And Marty DeBurgi, played by Rob Reiner, is covering them again, just where they've been at in their lives. I enjoyed this. I like seeing what they were all doing afterwards. One of them was working at a glue museum.
I've heard about some of their like recent ththings that they're up to in their career paths. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious.
One of them is working at a cheese shop, and he's just like, so Rob Reiner's like, so you like sell cheese, and then like people come in and do that. He's like, well, sometimes people bring in guitars, and I trade guitars for cheese. So sometimes, or vice versa. He's like, sometimes if people bring in a half wheel of cheese, I'll give them a guitar. He's just like weighing them in his hands. Like, if I feel how heavy this is, and this guitar, that's about equal. So we trade. And it's just like that kind of dry, like deadpan humor,
stupid ass humor
that I really appreciated. I think, like, I don't know, they both kind of work for me in that same way. And I really just had fun, like, as they're preparing for this last show in New Orleans. And Mason's so for anybody that you can't even see it, but we have like these soundboards up that try and block the noise of Minneapolis street racers outside or whatever.
And some of the sunlight, because it's a 90-degree day and we have the
hot
blinds
as
closed.
Fuck, the AC's off because it's loud.
I got IPA all over my crotch.
Yeah, good. And one of the boards just fell over. I was trying to power through, and then I look over at Mason, and just the IPA is dribbling out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's all over the can.
So, I was gonna,
sorry.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. I feel like I had to address it now that just there's shit.
I thought I was gonna get away from it.
No, you're not. You're not escaping that shit. But Spinal Tap 2, it's fun. I liked it. They're getting ready for this last concert. You get some Stonehenge iconography like you see in the first movie, which is fun. And really, it's just them like hanging out, just trying to write songs, and like they have little disagreements here and there. Paul McCartney and Elton John are in it. They're pretty fun.
The Elton John song is actually really good, too.
Yeah,
I've heard that a lot in the build-up to the release of this movie.
Yeah, so they're good. It's great because like Paul McCartney comes in for a listening session, and he's like trying to give some advice. Just like, hey, what if you like did this chord instead? And then they cut to Michael McKean, who is just like, fucking ego on this guy. Like the fucking balls he has to come in here and try and tell us stuff. And then Rob Reiner's like, well, he's a Beatle. Like he's like, yeah, I don't know, I've just never really liked him.
That's a good joke.
It's just really good stuff. Michael McKean also I just love from Better Call Saul. He's really good as Chuck in that show. So just like a lot of jokes that worked for me. I had a fun time. Honestly, like I like both movies pretty equally, and I think it is because I didn't grow up watching This Is Spinal Tap, so they both work like in tandem for me. And I think legacy sequels are pretty tough to do, but I think this one is done fairly well. I enjoyed it. It's a quick, brief watch. I don't know that it's going to be a super popular movie. I don't know that people of our generation are like, oh, a Spinal Tap sequel is like, I need to go see that. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad I've watched both movies now, just to like have that kind of checked off in my filmography.
Not that I think a lot of people are really clamoring for this sequel. I feel like the marketing for this has been really half-assed too. Just it felt like it was like, oh, the movie's being made. Oh, here it is. And I feel like I haven't seen like a lot of publicity about it, so it just kind of feels like it's coming out on a whimper. But I feel like those people that really have that admiration and deep love for the original This Is Spinal Tap will maybe show out and shell out. How was your theater relatively full at all? Or?
It was in one of the screening rooms.
Oh, so the smaller theater.
So it's like 3 or 4 rows, which it was pretty. There was like 3 other people. One guy was really enjoying it, laughing, having a time, which I was happy to see. They also did like a Liquid Death commercial that I saw
Yep,
for
I
Spinal
saw
Tap,
that.
which I love Liquid Death. That's the hat I got on now that Mason got me a couple years ago. So I don't know, just like weird marketing. I feel like it really just kind of came, and I feel like it's going to go very quickly.
Yeah, I'm still like setting out. I will see this movie in theaters. One, we're kind of in a little bit. September, August can sometimes be a little bit slow in terms of like the transitional season and what are we really getting in theaters. We haven't like fully committed to the horror edge of like October and all that, but still trying to get through fall. I will see this movie in theaters, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, which is Tuesday, which for the Minnesota, I don't know if this is for everyone, but like discount movie tickets, I'll go see that. I'm really excited. One, it would be checking off seeing a Rob Reiner movie in theaters, which I'm like, I did that earlier this year, and you did too, I believe, with Spike Lee, where it's like we finally got to see a movie made by some of these more prolific directors in theaters. So I'm sold on that alone, but also to hear that, for you that it works as much as the first one, and I think you and I kind of have similar feelings about the first one. So and also that joke about Paul McCartney is very funny. So if that's in the movie, I feel like I'll be sold throughout with just the humor that it levies at me. So I'm excited to see it. Just haven't gotten around to it. Do you have a favorite Rob Reiner movie, or do you have to think about it? Like, is it hard for you? Is it a toss up between a couple, or do you have a definitive favorite Rob Reiner movie?
It is really tough. I think
he went on a tear.
He went on a tear in the 80s and 90s, and he from so many different genres too. Like, I love Stand By Me. That's my favorite coming of age movie. Misery is such a great thriller. A Few Good Men is such a good courtroom drama. But I think When Harry Met Sally, that's one of my favorite rom-coms, if not my favorite. And just Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan in that movie, I think, are great. Like, I don't know. So I think right now I'd go with that. But I could honestly pick any of those other movies I mentioned. The Princess Bride is also just a lot of fun.
Infinitely quotable.
Yeah, it's just such a fun fantasy adventure. But yeah, When Harry Met Sally, I think I would choose right now.
Yeah, that's not horribly surprising. I don't know if we lined up our shots well enough, but that is on screen here. I also really love this movie. Billy Crystal landing Meg Ryan in the movie sometimes isn't like the most believable thing to me, just because Meg Ryan is just so stunning and Billy Crystal.
He's got a great personality.
He's got a great personality. He just looks like such an average dude, and he's charming in his sweaters and everything in that movie. And also the line of like, what is it? When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible, or whatever. Not verbatim, but just it's such a great rom-com. It does both so well. So I don't fault you for that. That is a great movie. For me personally, I'd probably go down. Misery is really good, but I'd probably say A Few Good Men, just because Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. Honestly, just that short courtroom experience, just between them going tit for tat back and forth, it is so riveting. It's so well written. I love that movie. I only wanted to do this just because I don't know how many more movies we're going to get from Rob Reiner going straight to theaters. I'm really excited to see Spinal Tap 2. Hopefully I'll catch up on it and see it this week and see it in theaters, but I'm happy that you're able to get a full watch through of these movies and check both of those off your list. One movie that, early 2000s, a movie I've always heard of, never was super excited to watch. Before I bury the lead too much, it's Mulholland Drive, directed by a director that I really admire. There's some of his works, David Lynch, that I really love. Elephant Man, Blue Velvet, I really love. I haven't seen Twin Peaks. It's a movie, or it's a show, and the prequel movie, and then the Return series, and all that stuff that I need to dive into, and will likely dive into sometime soon. But David Lynch, sometimes he makes movies that are really out there that I'm like, I admire what you're doing, but I don't love it. And I feel like you could say the same with like Eraserhead, like that. I feel like works for you in that way. But Mulholland Drive was a movie going into it. I was like, I think it will be on that shelf of I appreciate it, I admire it, but I don't love it. I'm so thrilled to say that I am so fucking wrong, or I was wrong in that outset. This movie works like a fever dream nightmare gone wrong, but it just slowly, gradually reveals itself to you. And it was a shocking surprise to me watching this movie, especially coming from, obviously, like, an old movie doesn't make it bad. People that don't watch movies that came out early 2000s or before the 2000s, you're missing out on so much. But I just didn't have like a lot of excitement to watch this movie from 2001 for some reason. I will say Naomi Watts is in this movie, as well as Laura Herring, Justin Theroux, and Robert Forster. Naomi Watts gives one of maybe the best performances I've ever seen in film. And I absolutely loved her. She's playing kind of somewhat multiple characters. If you watch the movie, hopefully you figured that out. I think I figured it out. with David Lynch movies, you don't 100% know if you're getting the full story. Mulholland Drive, after watching all of it and having time to marinate with it, I think I understood maybe 85% of it. And I think that's a win. Like, I think that works for me. And that 85% that I understand, I loved. That 15% I didn't understand, I still fucking loved. It's the basic synopsis is after a car wreck on Mulholland Drive renders a woman an amnesiac, she and a Hollywood hopeful search for clues and answers across Los Angeles in a twisting venture beyond dreams and reality. Which, that synopsis alone fits so well with what David Lynch as a director is capable of and the realm he likes to work in. Wow, was this movie just... Not only the performances, I had no idea what the fuck was going on, but I was enjoying it, and as I started to piece it together and get kind of my own understanding of it, and this was a movie kind of like when we saw Hereditary. I came out of it and I'm like, I know how I feel about it, and I know what I think happened, I understand. But there's something I think I might be missing. And I saw this movie I think last Tuesday, and it just infected my fucking head. Whereas I'm like, I need to watch explainer videos. Even if I don't agree with what their reasoning is or explanation is, I just need to see what other people think about this movie. And it's so weird to do that with a movie from 2001 when it's 2025. A movie that's 24 years old, and it's still just a fucking gangbuster. Like, it's an enigma. This entire movie's an enigma, but it's handled so well, so perfectly within David Lynch's hands, and he knows how to handle dreams, nightmares, and horrible truths about reality and make it all woven into one cohesive story that just fucks with your head, but also you're getting some weird enjoyment out of. So I fucking loved this movie. I did not have nearly as high as expectations going into watching this movie as if I knew what I knew now, I'd be like, this is a movie I need to watch right now. But seeing it was something that I got to grow and love while watching it. And it's not my favorite David Lynch just because Elephant Man I think is the most beautiful black and white movie ever made. So that clear and away has my favorite David Lynch title. But Mulholland Drive, damn, this movie deserved more. At the Oscars that year, the 2002 Oscars, it was nominated for Best Director for David Lynch, which is completely understand. I get not winning, but to get nominated is a win in of itself. It's David Lynch doing not like a mainstream movie, doing something that's within his realm and is very weird, and to get nominated is awesome. But Naomi Watts, like I said, gives one of the best performances I've ever seen. To not get a nomination is criminal. I know that they cleaned up at the Saturn Awards, but damn, this movie is so good, and I was shocked at how well it held up. Corey, I don't know how much of the David Lynch kind of filmography or back catalog you've really been exposed to. I know we kind of have similar understandings and appreciations for Eraserhead and stuff like that, but what is your kind of experience or relationship with Mulholland Drive? Have you seen it? Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I absolutely want to see it. I have not yet. David Lynch is somebody that I've never quite been on the same wavelength as. Yeah. But it's somebody that I respect a lot, and just the craft and the direction of just being interesting and being something so different. I would take that over just like a bland, movie any week, But this is a movie that you just always hear about as being one of the best movies of the century.
They put out a list about that, and it was number one, and that's what triggered me to buying the Criterion and watching it. Yeah. And I'm so happy that I saw that list. I'm so happy that I watched this movie because while I don't know if it's the best movie of the century, I get why they would say that. This movie works so well. Yeah, so it's always one I've wanted to check out, and I'm sure I will soon. Just kind of, I feel like anytime we both talk about movies, we get more motivated to watch something, that we talk about. So I always want to check it out. I love Naomi Watts, and hopefully it's something that I love from David Lynch. I haven't had that thing that I'm like, oh, I'm in love with one of his movies. I like a lot of his stuff, but just never quite clicked with me. So happy that you watched it, and I definitely will watch it soon. Just to kind of get that experience and see what I think for sure. I forget, where are you at with your alphabet rewatch? What letter would you be on?
I think I'm on Q right now.
Okay, so not M.
Which I've passed it, but I could still go back and
I got the Criterion. Whenever you want to watch it, I will happily let you have it for a week or whatever and watch it maybe a couple of times just to make sure you finally get it, or fully get an understanding of it, because I'm like, after watching it, it's one of those movies where I'm like, maybe I should go back and revisit this already, within the same week. I'm hoping, and I'm debating, just trying to figure out time-wise when I'm going to subscribe to Paramount Plus so I can have full access to all things Twin Peaks. Going into September, late September and October, I want to have something kind of new to me that I can visit and watch and have reoccurring that I can really grow to love. And Twin Peaks, as being someone that will say he's a pretty big David Lynch fan, I'm missing out on a lot of all the Twin Peaks shit. So that would be the next show that I will hopefully dive into after kind of Alien Earth and Peacemaker and all that stuff kind of wraps up. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about Twin Peaks in a little bit after I kind of fully invest time into watching that show. With it also being late September, getting into that fall season, me and my wife sat down and we wanted to watch a movie together, and I was coming off of after watching Mulholland Drive on Tuesday, it was Wednesday night, and my wife, who watched part of Mulholland Drive with me, was like, I don't want to watch a movie like that again. And I'm like, I understand. She's like, I kind of want a horror movie, I kind of want a fall movie, but I don't want to be depressed. I want it to be kind of like lighter in tone. If it's eerie and weird, that's fine, but I don't want it to be like sad. All good. Me knowing my wife so well, I was like, do you want to watch X or Pearl? And she was like, I want to watch Pearl. I'm like, perfect, we'll put it in. Pearl, obviously coming from the director Ty West, part of that X trilogy with X, Pearl, Maxine. He also directed House of the Devil, which is a movie I really admired, but again, another one of those movies where I appreciate but I didn't love. But Pearl being my favorite of this new trilogy we got from Ty West, starring Mia Goth, David Corenswet, and Tandy Wright. It's set in 1918. This young woman who is on the brink of just like a full mental breakdown, but she's not like super aware of it, and she's in this pursuit of kind of exploring life and wanting to have this huge experience and wanting to be not necessarily a showgirl, but be in the business and be on stage and entertain people. But she comes from this really reserved way of living on this farm with her family, and she's waiting to break out. And all the madness that ensues with that, all the violence that gleefully ensues with that. This movie I love so much. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's a movie from 2022. I know you and I have both seen it, and it's not the most relevant to what we're talking about today, but it is one of my favorite modern, I'd say, horror movies. It's just so gleeful and fun and sadistic with the things it sets out to do. Mia Goth gives an amazing performance where she's not screaming every other line like an Infinity Pool, which I like that movie, but her yelling Jamesy made me want to put a bullet through my skull. Jamesy! I was like, oh, Mia, I like you, but stop it. Also, you get to see Superman in a role before Superman, aside from his show on Netflix Hollywood. But I really enjoy this movie. It's infinitely rewatchable. I never get bored. Mia Goth gives, I think, maybe her best performance in this trilogy within this movie. And I think there's so much charm to this that kind of speaks to early Hollywood with, like, The Wizard of Oz and kind of the nods to it and, like, classic golden age cinema. So I love Pearl. Got to rewatch it this week. I'm sure I'll add more movies that I will revisit in the coming weeks of movies that I need to watch around this time of year. This being one of the crown jewels of it. So I love Pearl. Corey, I know you have a pretty good admiration for this trilogy from Ty West. Do you have a favorite of those three films?
I think X is my favorite just by a little bit. I love the 70s slasher, kind of Texas Chainsaw kind of feel to it. So I really enjoy that one. But Pearl is equally great. Just the release of these two movies in the same year, 2022, was really interesting, where you get the little teaser for Pearl at the end of X, and you're like, oh, it's coming out later this year. Okay, cool. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Mia Goth is great. I love just the setting. I love how it all ties together. Maxine, I enjoy too. Not quite as good as the first two.
I agree. Yeah.
But still a lot of fun. Just a very interesting horror trilogy from a very interesting director, Ty West.
Yeah. Somewhat underrated too. No one really talks about his films or any works like he's like a hot commodity or making something new like a Jordan Peele, but I think he's close to that level of he's on the cusp of a Robert Eggers, where it's what's after Nosferatu. It's I want to know what's coming after Maxine. What am I going to see? So
yeah, very curious to see what he does in the future. Moving into some TV stuff for this week, we have the fourth episode of Peacemaker season 2, and I've enjoyed this show, or I've enjoyed the second season. But it feels like we're kind of treading water a little bit right now.
Yeah.
We're 4 episodes in, and I'm like, I wanted to bit more progression with the story at this point, because like not a ton happens in this episode. I feel like each of these first 4 episodes is Argus being like, all right, we need to go to Peacemaker's house and we need to find him and we need to get him.
We need to catch him for what he's doing.
And then it keeps happening and it keeps happening and it keeps happening. And I'm like, okay, we've done this a few other times already. Like, and this time, like, we see the flashback of the like creature and the helmet that like is this quantum unfolding chamber, and seeing kind of how his dad got that, how he has it. And then the process of like moving that door to another location, his like grandpa's cabin or whatever it is. And like, it's all fun, it's all enjoyable, I still like it, but we're just kind of like, we're not moving this forward enough. And like, we really don't get a lot in the other dimension in this episode.
Yeah.
We get a lot more Michael Rooker as Red Saint Wild. He's this kind of, I don't even know what the fuck he is. This like
he's kind of a like
sort of Native American.
He's kind of a metahuman. Like he has this ability to seek out and see through his ritual that he performs to understand the eyes and the view of a bird, to track it. I don't know. It's so weird.
Weird, yeah. It's good still. I like it. Yeah. I don't want to like come off as negative, but there's like not much to dive into with like plot elements this week. It's just kind of like, all right, now they're at their grandpa's cabin, but every time this door gets activated, like they get like notified that another portal is open. So it's like, okay, they're just gonna go there. We're gonna do this, and then he's probably gonna go into the other thing. So I just liked being in that other dimension in episode 3. That's maybe my favorite of the season so far, like 2 or 3.
100%.
So good. Excited to see where it goes. It's still appointment viewing every week, every Thursday night. I can't wait to come back from work and watch it, but I hope we move it along a little bit quicker right now.
Yeah. And that, like, your main complaint about being kind of aimless in terms of, like, what the overarching story of the season is, I agree with. Even though, like, in the first season, I felt that a little bit, but we established the butterfly thing and the main conflict within that first season. I feel like within the first couple episodes, we kind of had an idea as to where we were going with it. This, I'm like, we've been presented with things. We have Argus forming, which you're completely right. I feel like Argus has shown, we have a team together. And it's been episode 2, 3, and 4. We've had, we got a team together. I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Like, Tim Meadows, shut the fuck up. Like, where are we going? Like, what's going on? I love Johnny Economos. Like, I love all the characters still. Everything works. I will say the opening I really did appreciate with the flashback to Christopher as a kid and him and his brother and his dad hunting and them stumbling upon this alien that somehow explains this interdimensional door that they now have in their home, and that is kind of the hot commodity so far from Argus. I will say there's 2 things within that opening. The alien, when they shot the alien, I thought it was Weasel. Like, there are some grunts and noises made before they, like, show us in the wide shot what the fuck is going on. I was like, did he just fucking cap Weasel right now? Does Christopher know Weasel from when he was a kid? And then, no, he doesn't. It's a random alien, which I kind of appreciate the way that they're kind of explaining this interdimensional door and the vagueness around it. Like, I don't need over-explanation on this. Leave it to me. Give me the basic knowledge and I'll just roll with it. But I also thought that fucking alien looks so damn funny. It's not a part of the thumbnail for this video, but it very closely was. I think it looks hilarious. And just, like, the shot of it laying with, like, guts, and it's just like, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so fucking funny. There's, like, weird humor, obviously, with James Gunn stuff, but in Peacemaker, too. I agree with the aimlessness of it. I feel like we're kind of... This felt the most like a filler episode we've ever gotten within Peacemaker. And while I'm happy Michael Rooker isn't like a small bit player and that his character is going to have a longer lasting role, I'd be lying to you if I was telling you I was excited to see where they go with him. Like, I don't give a shit about his character. He's doing this weird tribal shit. He's eating eagle shit, saying, tastes like tofu, or whatever the fuck he says. Yeah. And I'm like, cool, like, this joke doesn't land for me, that's fine, but let's get on with it. Where's Christopher going? Get him back into the other dimension, because, like, I feel like that so far has been the biggest through line of, like, that's what this story is about for season 2. And I'm waiting for the main kind of conflict to really kick in, because if it's just a story about Argus going after Chris, I'm like, that's it? Like, that doesn't feel like enough to satisfy me for a second season. Although, that's coming from someone who I still, like, I love episodes 1 through 3. I really like episode 4. But I'm just like, okay, we got 4 more episodes still left. What's this back half of the season going to look like? Where are we going? What's the main conflict? What's going on with Argus? What really is going to be made out of this whole parallel dimension, alternate dimension that we're dealing with? Like, give me something interesting. Don't just give me, oh, hey, I got to go see my brother and my dad. Now I'm back. And I want to be over there, but now I'm here and Argus is chasing us. Like, is that all the story is? I feel like it could be more if that's the case. So I'm on the show side. I'm rooting for the show. I love the show so far, but I need something to carry me through the rest of the season in terms of just like conflict and main story. Like, what is the goal of this? And I've heard from like all the reviews and all the interviews that, oh yeah, these last couple episodes are all the stuff contained with like all these potential cameos we might get towards the end of the season. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for it, but like that shouldn't be the only thing that I'm looking forward to in this show. Like, give me a good story to follow, and I'm still like kind of waiting for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see this back half of the season, how we feel about it. Maybe we'll like this first half a little bit more once we see the back half.
Yeah,
that can always happen with TV. So the other kind of new show that's coming out every week is Alien Earth. We got episode 6 this week. Again, not like a ton to dive into for me. The like last 10 minutes of this episode were great.
Oh yeah,
where one of the guys that's working out at this kind of Neverland facility of these, synthetics and the hybrids and everything, he gets fired and he's gonna leave, and then you see one of the like kids that's in these new hybrid bodies, and he's like, all right, he's like, I have this mission to like get a xenomorph onto a human being to transport it back to Morrow's character. And as soon as you see this guy that he's like, all right, I'm going to leave the island, and he's like, going to get out of there. Like, it sucks that he got fired, but he's like, I'm going to get a fresh start somewhere. You're like, oh, you're gonna have that's a xenomorph on your face, aren't you?
That's not how this works in this universe.
And it was really great, like the tension build up in that last scene when they go into the lab, and like you see all these different creatures, and one of the hybrids is like in the like cage area with them.
Yeah.
And it's like pecking apart its face, and then the other two go in, and you see the egg open up. You see the alien stuff that you want to see, and the hybrid kid, I forget his name, but he brings them out. So a good episode for sure. Like, I've still really enjoyed this show a lot. I think, for me at least, like I've enjoyed consistently this show more than Peacemaker.
Okay.
I think just like every episode I've been like, yeah, I really like what they're doing. I think it's really cool. It's just, I know the story, I know where we're going with this season. It feels like we have 2 more episodes, but another great one. I really enjoyed it. It's just I love the characters. I love the heady sci-fi. I love the classic alien iconography. It is always terrifying when a xenomorph goes on somebody's face. It is horrifying.
Yeah.
And like we've joked about it a little bit of like the tail wrapping around the person's neck, and anytime somebody's like, all right, well, we gotta get that thing off his face. Like we gotta cut this thing off, and the thing realizes it's just
the tail gets a little tired.
Just tightens up. It's like, you're not
getting me off this.
It's like, oh, and if you do, the acid's gonna kill this person. So like, good luck.
I'm here to stick.
Yeah, but it really is just horrifying. But really solid show so far. And I'm excited to see these last 2 episodes of where we end up if it sets up a season 2. If this is a limited series thing, I'm very interested in that.
My favorite part. I will preface this overall. I tend to look forward more to Peacemaker every week, more so than Alien Earth. But then I usually feel like I'm, if not as satisfied with Alien Earth as Peacemaker, I typically like the episodes of Alien Earth more. Mm-hmm. Just because of what they're doing with the show. I feel like you said, we have a more clear outlook of kind of a trajectory, where we're going, where we're heading. I love the scene between Boy Cavalier and Yutani. That meeting, that conference, basically to review, like, hey, what's going on? Okay, yes, this is all Yutani's property, but it ended up here. And then basically making an argument for everyone to get, like, hey, I want my stuff back to me. I don't want you to fucking mess with it. Like, I want just kind of, how can we clear this up? And I love Samuel Blanken as Boy Cavalier is the biggest shithead in the world of Weyland-Yutani, in the world of the Alien universe. He doesn't work for Weyland-Yutani, but just in this world, I'm like, you fucking jackass. Like, I'm just like, I want to punch you so hard in the face, and you're such a great villain. It's like Paul Reiser in fucking Aliens. I forget his character's name in that in that movie, but it's a similar role to that where I'm like, I hate you so much, but you're so fun to watch. And him just sitting there, we're like picking at his toes as Yutani's talking, just like messing with her. I was like, I dig this. I love, again, the exploration of other alien life forms. And that fucking lamb that's just posted up every time with the fucking weird eye alien that's in it. Just like, what's going on? And just like, it's so ominous. And it fits the tone so well of those first two films. I'm sold on this. Sometimes I wish at the end of each episode that we got a little bit more in terms of the plot, or a little bit more movement, or some maybe some more intensity. I feel like sometimes these episodes they're slow and they really just let you kind of marinate, which I appreciate, but I want more excitement sometimes. But overall, I've been so surprised by how much this show is willing to build out an actual lived-in world within the alien universe and develop other technologies, and encounter other alien life forms. So I'm a big fan of this show. I will say I love Timothy Olyphant in the show. I don't feel like I've talked about him too much so far within Alien Earth and my thoughts on the show. I love his kind of resolution in this episode of, okay. Like, just knowing what went on and, like, oh, okay.
Letting things play out.
Letting things play out. I'm like, what are you up to? What the fuck's going on here? So, I all across the board, I'm a big fan of the show. I can't wait to keep watching it. I'm really interested to see where this season will leave off, just because I think Noah Hawley's come out and talked about what this show is and having like strong through lines and multiple seasons of like growing with these characters. So I'm really interested to see where our kind of period is on season 1 and where we may potentially look to into season 2. So I'm a big fan and I'm really excited. Yeah,
the Timothy Olyphant character feels to me a bit like David from Prometheus.
He's up to shit, yeah.
Just kind of like the synthetics that are like, I'm gonna see what plays out and then I'll deal with the aftermath and take advantage where I can. So that's very interesting to me. Last little bit of TV. I finally caught up on The Bear season 4. I love the show. I've got an original Beef with Chicagoland shirt on, obviously. I love the first 2 seasons of the show so much. I remember watching those like back to back for the first time, and I worked in a restaurant myself. I feel like a lot of people have worked in restaurants or food in some extent, and it's very relatable. And it's just the stresses of like being out with a customer and being like, well, yeah, I ordered this, but I don't really like it. Can you remake it for me? And then you're like, yeah, absolutely. You go back to the kitchen, you're like, you motherfucker, you fucking piece of shit.
It's like you're an adult, you ordered this, deal with it. Like, that's on you.
It's just a very relatable kind of restaurant atmosphere that I've really enjoyed about this show. I think season 3, I actually probably like more than most people. We'll talk about the Emmys in a bit. It didn't get any Emmy Awards for the 3rd season yesterday, but I think it does a lot of good character work. This 4th season, I think, is a little bit of a step up from season 3. Not quite as good as 1 or 2. But I just love being with these characters. This is a show that I'm kind of tired of the conversation of like, well, The Bear's not a comedy. Yeah. That's such a tired fucking complaint to have. It's like, this show is good. It's a good show. It's going to get nominated for stuff. And when you have 2 categories of very broad, drama and comedy, it's like, yeah, this isn't like the heaviest fucking show of all time. And like, it does have some comedic elements, and a lot of it is just kind of these sweet relationships between characters. I'm okay with it being in the comedy category. I've never had an issue with that. I know a lot of people are like, it's unbelievable, it won for season 1. Like, I don't care about that really. I think season 4 is really good. There are so many great progressions for Carmi, played by Jeremy Allen White. Io Adebari as Sydney is, I think, the standout of the show. Her in this season, she directs an episode called Worms. I think it's the 6th or 5th episode, where she's just trying to make a decision, and she's essentially babysitting a kid, and the kid is like talking about something they're going through in school. It's a great back and forth, just like couple character episode. The 7th episode of the season is a wedding, and it brings together so many people. This show is known for having a lot of guest actors. John Mulaney's in there, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bob Odenkirk. You have Will Poulter show up in the show. Danielle Deadweiler has an episode she's great in. Brie Larson comes in, has a great episode. You have Sarah Paulson. It's just like so many people that fill out this world so nicely. And I just love seeing this whole group of people that, like, some of them are actually family, but then the rest are kind of like they call cousin, but they're not actually like cousins. Yeah. It's just a great, like, found family type of thing. And there's a scene in that wedding episode where they're like, this little girl is really nervous at the wedding, just about going out for a dance that she's doing. She's like, I'm nervous, I don't want to do it. And, like, it starts out with a few people under the table just being like, well, here's things I'm scared of. Like, I'm an adult, I'm scared of spiders or whatever. And then, like, the whole kind of main crew is just sitting under this wedding table, and they're all just going around and talking. And it's such a sweet scene, and I think that's one of the best, like, hours of TV I've watched in this year. And I love where the show ends in this season. They have renewed it for a season 5, which I'm happy about because it ends in a really interesting spot with characters. The last episode is just all taking place in a back alley with like mainly three characters just screaming and yelling and talking to each other and having really vulnerable moments that are just very raw and tie back to the first season of the show and just really emotional stuff. They're all great. Eben Moss-Backrack is incredible too. So I've always really loved this show. I know a lot of people hyped it up in the first couple seasons, like, this is the best show that's ever come out. It's like, I don't think that personally, but it's such a easy comfort show to watch for me where I can just really be with these characters in an environment that I kind of have nostalgia for a bit, and I just really love it. I think it's a great season, and I'm very curious to see where they go with the season 5 next year.
Fuck. Damn. No, I've only ever seen the first season of The Bear, and I watched most of it while I was babysitting, but the baby was asleep, so I was like, I'm going to watch The Bear. So I've seen all of the first season. I heard so many great things about the second season, and from an outsider kind of looking in, I've heard that the third season kind of takes a step down, and then season 4 has been a little bit more of like a correction in terms of the quality of the show. After the Emmys, and we'll talk about the Emmys and the results of the Emmys in a little bit, but there's a list of shows that I need to get to that I've sat down and made. I'm like, all right, I need to watch Wednesday season 2 because my wife won't stop talking about it and we really need to watch it. Fine. I want to revisit. I want to visit for the first time an old show, Twin Peaks. I want to watch Adolescence just based on what I've heard about it, how it's done at the Emmys, all that stuff. The Bear is quickly becoming one of those where I will go back and rewatch all of season 1 because I did really enjoy it. I just didn't stick with it. And everything that I've heard about season 2 being as good as it is, and now what you're saying about season 4, I'm like, I feel like I have enough kind of backup, enough support, enough evidence as to why I need to sit down and like really watch all of this show. So I'm happy to hear that you watched through all of it. I didn't know that they were going into a season 5. The biggest thing with me with TV is I don't want TV to overstay its welcome. I was a big Dexter fan growing up, and that show has continued to overstay its welcome, at least from my point of view. But we did get a resurgence, and there's now the return of Michael C. Hall as Dexter and all that shit, and I heard this new season was great. But I'm just like, I want TV shows to have I don't want there to be a lull in the quality of the show or in the content, whether it's the story, whether it's the characters. I want this to be a fully fleshed out thing that has a beginning, middle, and end. Not beginning, 18 seasons, this middle part, and then 5 more seasons of just kind of bullshit, and then we wrapped it up. Like, I don't want that in a TV show. But I feel like with The Bear, I haven't heard that much. While I heard season 3 was kind of somewhat of a step down, or at least for some people, because it was built up pretty high. As someone who watched the first season and really liked it, I'm like, guys, can we just chill the fuck out about the show a little bit? Like, just let it happen. I am excited to sit down and watch it just because I've heard so many great things. I have liked what I have seen, and I don't know. I obviously haven't seen 2, 3, and 4. I don't know how this show continues into like a 7th or 8th season. Like, I feel like maybe 5 they wrap it up. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I will sit down and I will watch watch through all of The Bear. There's a lot of shows that I'm very non-committal with, but The Bear, I know I will watch.
There's just a couple other little things I was thinking about. Rob Reiner, also in the show. He's great.
Yep.
So he's fun. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't think I talked about her, but she has an episode in the show. She's such a fascinating character. She plays Jeremy Allen White's mom in the show. And there's stuff in the second and third season which are just shocking that happened and really kind of funny, but also very shocking. But she has an episode where her and Jeremy Allen White are just sitting at a table, and she just like has a list just written out on a piece of paper of things she's wanted to say, and just like things building up over the years of like, as a mom, I need to say these things. And she says them, and it's one of the most emotional scenes I've seen this year in TV. So I think it does a really good balance of like having those emotional moments that people probably think should be in a drama category, but also has fun moments like with the facts. The characters, the facts are just like doing shit around the place, and they're like trying to like act professional. Everyone's like, shut the fuck up, you're dumb, you're not doing that. So I just think it's striking a really good tone of like drama and comedy. So yeah, I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it. It's, again, just like a very easy show to watch. It's like half-an-hour episodes. Just like, yeah, this is fun. I like being with these characters.
That is the biggest like hard selling point for Wednesday season 2, because I mentioned my wife really wants to watch it. I liked the first season enough, but not enough to really like be excited for a season 2. And I think most of the episodes are around like that 40 to 45 minute mark, maybe into an hour. I don't 100% know, but that is such a hard sell for me. Looking into that, whereas like The Bear being kind of a more concise 20 to 30 minutes, I'm like, all right, thank you. I appreciate that. This is going to be a lot easier to catch up on. So I will hopefully pick back up on The Bear. I don't know when, just because we're getting into that spooky season and I really want to watch Twin Peaks and also True Detective Season 4 that I fucking missed out on.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of shows that I've added to a list. And Adolescence I might crush in a weekend. Who knows? We'll see. But Bear is definitely one of those shows that are kind of growing and moving up on that list of things I need to catch up on. In terms of movies, though, looking forward into this upcoming Friday, September 19th, we will have Him, directed by Justin Tipping. I believe this is a feature directorial debut. I haven't heard much from this director. And it is not the movie made by Jordan Peele. Anyone that ever says, oh, that new Jordan Peele movie, just because it says produced by Jordan Peele, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything about movies, and I don't mean to gatekeep. I mean to just tell you, hey, producing isn't the same as directing. Actually, 100% entirely different. Directing, you're creatively involved. Producing, you could do whatever the fuck you want. You give them money, you could walk away, you could be there on set every day and be like, actually, I don't like this, do this instead.
Makes sense why they put Jordan Peele on the trailers and the poster.
That is the selling topic. That's the hot name, the hot commodity of this project, aside from maybe Marlon Wayans, who hasn't been relevant since fucking Scary Movies in the early 2000s. But I do like Marlon Wayans. Anyways, aside from Marlon Wayans starring in this film, we got Tyreek Withers, who I believe was in I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, which is a movie, if you don't remember, I walked out on. So, I'm terrible. No, all jokes aside, I'm actually really excited for this movie. The trailers have been really out there, weird, kind of ethereal, nightmarish, and fucked up in the way that I would equate to a Jordan Peele like Us or like Get Out. So I'm excited with some of the stuff that I've seen from the trailers, and I like the idea of Marlon Wayans, who is someone I've grown up with, and it might just be my undying, fucking resounding love for white chicks.
Oh, yeah.
But Marlon Wayans has had such a special place in my life since I was like 8 years old. So to see him in a movie where he is almost the antagonist, I'm so invested in that and what I've been presented. Again, this is a movie about a young athlete who's looking to kind of make it big in the sports world as a quarterback and be really good and live up to kind of this Hall of Fame status as his mentor, played by Marlon Wayans. And with that, he discovers a lot of terror and all the downsides, the negatives that come with this lifestyle. But what are you willing to sacrifice in order to be great? So I'm really sold on this movie. I'm excited. Of the movies coming out this week, this is one that's more of like the event movie, even though it's kind of a quieter week in terms of these bigger releases. I am sold on Him. I will be seeing the movie Him, hopefully. I got Beer League softball Thursday night, maybe Friday night, but I'm super stoked for this. And I'm hopeful that Justin Tipping makes a really good horror film. If it doesn't scare me, just weird me the fuck out, please.
Yeah, I think it's, what better time to release a football movie
at
than
the start
in
of NFL,
September? Yeah, right. So I'm very excited. The trailers look trippy and weird. I'm very, very excited to see that one. The movie that I'm actually more excited for this one this week is A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which is a mouthful of a title, but it comes from one named director, Kogonada, who directed After Yang, which I haven't seen, but I've heard really good things about.
Amazing things.
And then he also directed a couple episodes of The Acolyte, which is a show there's some okay moments, but not great overall. Movie stars Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie, and is about two strangers that go on this journey that kind of connects their past and their present and their future. And the trailers have just really worked for me. I don't know that this will have a big play in awards season. It feels like a movie that could, just with the cast and the premise and everything. But I just haven't heard as much about it in from awards pundits, kind of stuff like that. But I don't know, the relationship between Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie, and they find these doors that bring them back to their past. And there's a part where Colin Farrell goes back and he's in high school, and he's like, oh, this is the first time that I said I love you to this girl, or I had feelings, and he's like, oh, I'm feeling exactly just how I did then. He's like, oh, wow. And just that moment, and there's a scene with Margot Robbie at the bedside of her mom or her grandma or something. And all that just seems to I don't know, really work for me, of just exploring your past with this other person. Feels like it can be just a really heavy movie that kind of hits you on that emotional level. I'm really excited. I will absolutely be seeing this movie this week. And I'm very curious to watch After Yang too, because I've heard just kind of similar things about it. So two very different movies this week, but I'm very excited to see both of them.
Yeah, I'm slightly more excited for him just because that plays to my genre tastes. I do love horror films. That is my favorite genre. So him, I'm initially already more excited for. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I remember the concept or the premise, hearing about it. I'm like, okay, it feels kind of generic. I feel like everyone has had that idea of what if you could revisit all the specific points in your life and bring someone with, and you get to have this big dissertation on why you are the way you are. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've had that script idea too. Didn't write it because it probably would have been shit. But what I will say is, as I've seen this trailer more, and also you have this amazing cast of Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie, I'm gradually more and more sold on it. I think that this is either going to be the most touching, sweet, sentimental expose on the growth of a human throughout their life, and something that everyone can really relate to, or it's going to be a heaping pile of dog shit. I don't know, because the trailer promises some things in certain moments, and then there's narration over a big, bold, beautiful journey coming from, it's just I don't know. This movie could be really good, it could be really bad. I am excited to see it, again, because of the cast. I haven't seen After Yang, but everyone that I've ever heard seeing that movie has fucking heralded it as being one of the best A24 films, and also one of the best Colin Farrell performances, which I'm like, shit, I'm missing out, because I love Colin Farrell. So I will check this movie out. Him will probably get the precedent, but I'm hoping by the end of next week, and by the end of next weekend, I will have both of these movies checked off my list, because this is one of the few weekends in September where I'm like, all right, both of these I need to see this week. I'm really excited about, and I hope that they each find an audience. They each do well in theaters. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, it is a mouthful, but I hope it does well in theaters, just because it does feel something more of a more personal, dramatic experience, and I hope people really can glom onto that, because I feel like it's a type of film that we don't really get in theaters, at least with something of kind of more of this middle budget type styled film. So I'm excited for both. Him will get the precedent, but I'm hopeful to see both this upcoming week. Moving into a physical media roundup, we've talked about how Corey and I are both massively impressionable people. Corey more so, I would say, with food. With Burger King, Dairy Queen, limited edition meals. Yeah. If there's a cereal box that has a character on it that is hey, Special K, but fucking Kung Fu Panda 4 or something.
Oh, dude, hold up, 1 second. Hold up.
All right. For those that are listening, Corey just went back.
I went to Target this morning to get some stuff. They had a fantastic 4 box of cereal.
I shit you not. When I went back to the fridge to look at what was in the fridge for what we were drinking this week, I saw this box. I was like, oh, this has got a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cream color. It's got that. It's got games on the back or something. I hope there's a toy in here. Remember when there's
snack? I like that you snap back into your bullshit. I hope there's a toy in here.
Remember when there used to be toys in cereal? That was the best. The Star Wars spoons from back in the day.
There's a lot of shitty things
Yeah.
about what we grew up during, but we grew up during one of the best things of having all these amazing sugary cereals and having toys with them.
Oh, it was awesome. So, anyway.
But also, I noticed that earlier on your fridge. I was going to bring it up to you, but I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
and the fact that you fucking ran to your fridge to grab that for this point.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Anyway, me and Corey are massively impressionable. Me coming off of watching Mulholland Drive for the first time, being a massive David Lynch fan, I bought Blue Velvet, the Criterion 4K Blu-ray. I found that at a Barnes & Noble, and I was like, fuck it, why not? I'll pay the full price for this, which was maybe a mistake. Who knows? I really love Blue Velvet, so maybe it's fine. I also ordered and got delivered to me Lost Highway on Criterion Blu-ray, which is another David Lynch film with, I believe, Patricia Arquette, and yeah, I have it next to me. Corey's pointing to me. It is next to me. I bought this on Criterion. I think it's Bill Pullman. Yeah, Bill Pullman and Patricia Arquette. I can't read, so it took me a while to find those names. But I'm really excited to watch that. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's pretty good. Like I said, I'm kind of steeped within a big David Lynch kind of vibe, era, moment, season, so I'm a big fan of him. I'm excited to watch through more of his filmography, especially the stuff that I haven't seen, like Lost Highway, and hopefully visiting Twin Peaks for the first time. So those are what I bought this week.
Right on. Coming out this week, we have, from this year, My Dead Friend Zoe, which I've heard pretty good things about, actually. This is kind of a smaller movie that came out in the spring, I believe it was, but I've heard really solid. It's like a veteran coming back from the war and kind of having PTSD and covering that. So definitely one I'd be interested in checking out. Speaking of the Spinal Tap movies, This Is Spinal Tap is coming out on Criterion, both 4K and Blu-ray. Pretty cool cover. I like it a lot. It's kind of a Queen, like reminiscent of the Queen album cover. And then for Tron Ares coming out later this year, we have Tron and Tron Legacy 4K Steelbooks coming out. They're pretty nice. They look sweet. I love Tron Legacy. I actually haven't seen Tron, so I'll rewatch that, or watch that for the first time before the new one comes out. But great that they're getting some really good physical releases.
Yeah, until we were doing the show notes, I didn't know about the re-releases or these steelbooks for the Tron movies, and I looked at the Tron Legacy because I like both movies. I saw Tron Legacy first, as I feel like most people our age did, and then went back and saw the first Tron, and I really liked the first Tron, but I have more of this connection and more of this overall enjoyment and admiration for the aesthetic and the style of Tron Legacy and the Daft Punk score. Everything within that movie is so stylistically perfect. And I looked back at that steelbook and I'm like, fuck, like $50 for a pre-order? Maybe, I don't know. But I love those movies, so I'm really excited for Tron Ares. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if my dumbass bought the Legacy 4K Steelbook here in the coming weeks. I hope not, but maybe I will.
You should.
I should. I have the Blu-ray. I really like that movie. And
do it.
I'm excited for you to watch the original Tron because while it is a little dated because it came out in the 80s, it does still hold up for being a really good sci-fi film. But yeah, some good releases this past week. Moving into the movie news, or at least before we really get into the brunt of the movie news, one thing that me and Corey have to kind of go back and revisit is something that we did back in early, I think it was like the second or third week of May. We sat down and we talked about our top 10 best or highest grossing films of the summer, at least domestically. That was looking into the season. We may have had Thunderbolts already exposed to us. We may have already seen that, but we wanted to rank what we thought would be the highest grossing films of the summer, at least domestically. I'm going to run through the list of the top 10 domestic, and then we'll go back and look at our lists that me and Corey made up of what our predictions were for the highest earners. Starting off, I'm going to go 10-1 just because I feel like that builds the anticipation, even though most of you, if you have a working brain, can probably guess what the top two likely are. But 10, surprisingly, we had Final Destination Bloodlines ranking at 138,130,000. I'm guessing because I'm going off of the way you wrote this, but that is, 138.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote it weird, but yeah.
You wrote it weird.
Yeah.
And then number 9, I'm not going to say the numbers for every one of them. I just want to get you guys somewhat of an understanding as to where this started off. Weapons we had surprisingly at number 9. Number 8, we had F1 the movie. Number 7, Thunderbolts. Number 6, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning. Number 5, How to Train Your Dragon live action. Number 4, Fantastic Four First Steps. Number 3, Jurassic World Rebirth. Number 2, surprisingly, Superman. And Lilo and Stitch was our highest earner of the summer with $423 million. Now we'll go back and look at our top 10 or our picks. Corey, is there any that off the bat you missed the fucking boat on? You were 100% wrong on, or you missed entirely with whether it was something you included that you shouldn't or should have included and you didn't?
So we both had 8 of the top 10.
Yeah.
We kind of created this like ranking of a little fun competition. If you get the movie on the top 10, you get a point. If you had the movie in the right spot, you get 2 points for that movie. So the only 2 movies that I missed out on were Elio and 28 Years Later.
Those are your 9 and 10 slots?
I think it was 9 and 10. It was in the bottom 3 for sure. But just as far as like kind of like I picked How to Train Your Dragon to be the number 1 movie of the year or of the summer, excuse me. Which fell to number 5. I thought it could be in the same Lilo and Stitch range. Wasn't quite there, but more or less it was about what I thought. It was just kind of the specific order I got wrong. I got Fantastic Four, The First Steps, in the right spot. That was the only one correctly in the right spot I got. But happy to see 9 and 10 Weapons and Final Destination, like 2 horror movies on like the bookends of the summer, really.
Yeah.
Great to see those movies doing well. Happy to see F1 doing well. So a lot of the other ones are pretty big franchise movies that we kind of expect to see, or live action remakes. But I gotta say you did a lot better than I did this year. You got a lot in the right spots, at least.
Yeah, not a lot better, because I think we had the same 8 through 1 figured out. We knew roughly going into this summer season what movies would probably be towards the top end of earners for this year. It came down to the ranking and the ordering of them, but I had F1 in the right spot. I had How to Train Your Dragon in the right spot at number 5. Jurassic World I had in the right spot at 3. And Lilo and Stitch I said it was number 1. That one I was pretty confident on, just because of the property, the IP, the recognizability.
Dude, you're killing it right now, man.
What is the word?
You're...
Get
Get there. Come on.
No, I can't, so just tell
Come
me.
on.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, I want you to get
Everyone knows of Lilo and Stitch, so I'm trying to find a buffer around fucking whatever word I was looking for. Lilo and Stitch was just going to be a big project coming out, seeing a live-action version. These live-action adaptations have done statistically pretty well. I can't speak. This second IPA is fucking
Is it good, yeah? Nice.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Good.
I, again, only had a couple of tortilla chips and some popcorn before filming, and now 2 8.5% IPAs,
go, baby.
And I'm already a lightweight to begin with. But so we had the same 1 through 8. It was just getting the order down. So I'm not surprised that we got 9 and 10 wrong, both of us, just because they were massive surprises of Weapons and Final Destination Bloodlines really shelling out and making a good amount of money, which is something that was a surprise to me, but also I'm really excited by, because I'm like, hell yeah, horror has some staying power. People will go see it. So I'm excited. I don't remember what the fuck we negotiated as being the prize for the other person.
Whatever you want. If you want to buy a movie or... Okay.
I'm not saying anything else for the rest of this. It's just going to be there. No.
Who's going to break first? I don't know.
I was watching you. I was waiting for you to... Because you have the next movie topic, so I was like, maybe you'll take that?
Yeah.
We're just going to sit here in silence with what I said.
To go back to your 10, what were the 2 that you missed out on for this year? That you put in that weren't in there?
So I, maybe naively, just because a lot of Pixar movies I feel like haven't done super well, I was hoping that Pixar would be on this top 10 list. I said Elio at my number 9, thinking that maybe, I don't know, an animated movie, a more family-friendly movie would make this list. And then number 10, I said Megan 2.0, just because the first Megan fucking did gangbusters for, at least in comparison to the budget that it had. I'm thinking back to what I said. I'm sorry. I'm so funny.
Wow, that's...
Do you disagree?
I don't know.
But Megan... Shut up. Megan 2.0 is my number 10 spot. I thought it would maybe... I didn't think it would 100% replicate what the first movie did, but I feel like, all right, coming out, you probably have some head of steam, just because a lot of people went and saw that movie. Maybe if it was for the meme of it, maybe because it was actually like somewhat enjoyable. But I thought the second movie would perform a little bit better. That was kind of a surprise how poorly that one film did. So Those are the films that I really missed out on. But I'm happy that it was the lower films, like the 9 and 10 slot, and not like a massive surprise. I am thrilled to see Weapons and Final Destination, though, make that top 10.
Yeah. No, it's I like doing this little box office prediction for the summer. It's kind of fun. I know we did it, I think, a couple years ago. I think we like tied and then had to go into the fall movie season.
Yeah.
As just like a fun little way to continue that. So, a good summer for the box office. Not great. I think there were some movies that underperformed, but if you want a full breakdown, go watch Dan Murrell. He does a great box office, the charts with Dan every week.
Yeah.
He does
We
a great
are
job.
not Dan Murrell, so we will not go into the numbers, because when I read the numbers, I read them wrong. Dan Murrell does everything the best.
Yeah.
So if you
He does
ever
a great
want
job.
like an update on box office, where movies are making their best money, or if they are breaking even, or if you want to see an awesome video that Corey brought out to me about his love of Jaws and that the 50th anniversary of that not the hype up Dan Murrell, but the video about him talking about Jaws on the 50th anniversary was really great. So, and I think that kind of sprung us to go see it in theaters last week. So that was really cool.
Yeah, he does great work.
Yeah.
Into some movie news for the week. Just a quick note: we got an announcement for the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie from a couple years ago, which we both really liked. It's a fun movie. It's exactly what we want from a Mario movie. It's just animated, having fun, doing fun stuff. We're getting the Super Mario Galaxy movie based on the game from 2007. It's coming out next year, April 3rd, so I'm excited for it. We got a little teaser trailer, which is just kind of some animation, just showing the world a little bit. But, I'm excited. I think that this lends itself to being a sequel, from that first movie. So I think it can be a lot of fun. I like that first movie a lot. I'm excited to see where the sequel goes.
Moving into the Emmy winners, which me talking about the Emmys means literally nothing because I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I also don't watch the Emmys. Corey does. So I'm only here to be his moderator. I'm here to introduce the categories, of which were kind of the more noteworthy ones, at least in terms of the winners. So of the categories, the biggest shows that won, The Pit, Severance, Andor, The Studio, Adolescence. We had a lot of kind of big shows that were really surprising this year. Surprisingly, we also didn't see any really representation for The Bear, at least in terms of awards this season, so maybe that's something that you'd be able to touch on. But in terms of the bigger winners, we had The Pit, which won Best Drama Series, Best Actor in a Drama for Noah Wiley, as also Best Supporting Actress in a Drama for Catherine Lanasa. For Severance, which is a show that I actually watched, so I'm really kind of giddy about this, we did get Best Actress in a Drama from Britt Lauer and Best Supporting Actor in a Drama, Tremel Tillman, who I didn't watch the Emmys, but my favorite speech of the night was Tremel Tillman's. I went back to watch his speech a couple of times just because it was really sweet. Kind of dedication to his mom. Kind of the unsung hero for me. A pretty decent sized award. Andor winning for Best Drama. Specifically Welcome to the Rebellion. That is a awesome accolade to get thrown towards the Star Wars fandom, Star Wars franchise, also Andor as a whole. It's such an excellently written show, so we'll unpack that a little bit. But I feel like outside looking in, the biggest winner of the night, aside from Adolescence getting Best Supporting Actor in a limited series with Owen Cooper and being the youngest, I believe, at his age to achieve that role or achieve that kind of feat, The Studio cleaned up at the Emmys, getting Best Comedy Series, Best Actor in a Comedy with Seth Rogen, directing for a comedy, and writing for a comedy. I remember seeing a behind the scenes, or maybe after the award show, where Seth Rogen's walking down to do an interview and he's got like 5 Emmys in his hands and he's having to set them down, and it's just like, damn, that's awesome. So Corey, you watch the Emmys. I'm going to let you unpack a little bit more of it as I kind of just throw a bunch of softballs at you and hopefully you hit them out of the park, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about in terms of TV. Also, we got Kristen Milioti winning for the Penguin, which we really
It was great.
liked.
That was the best speech of the night. I love that. She was so excited. She's like, I love acting. And then she screamed on stage. And everyone's like, yeah, let's go. That was great. Love to see the Penguin getting some love. I like the Emmys a lot. I've really gotten into TV a lot over the past 5-6 years, just trying to fill in the gaps of some classic shows while also watching a lot of the current stuff that people are talking about, because it's a lot of fun. I like kind of just tracking a show along through seasons. I think that's interesting compared to movies. Also, the Emmys are interesting because it's different than the Oscars, where like the Oscars, it's pretty new every year, where it's like maybe you'll have a sequel here and there that's nominated, like a Wicked for Good this year, or an Avatar 2 or something. But with the Emmys, it's kind of like a trajectory of a show where like the first season, the second season could be great, and then the third season kind of falls off, a little bit like The Bear this year. So just seeing how that progresses over the course of a few Emmy seasons is really fun. I was so happy to see Severance get a couple awards. I know Kathy Bates was kind of the front runner to win for Matlock for Best Drama Series. She won at the SAG Awards. Seeing Britt Lower win was great. I love her so much. She was incredible as Helly in that show. She had a fun little Easter egg in her speech, which was great. Tremel Tillman also winning, absolutely deserved. I loved it so much. His speech, like you mentioned, was incredible. And then Andor winning for writing for a drama series for that episode specifically. Welcome to the Rebellion. Mon Mothma's speech in that episode is great. So happy to see that. I have not seen The Pit. I know it's a lot of people love it. I know Noah Wyle was on ER and got nominated like 5 or 6 times for that show and never won. So this is his first Emmy, which is great for him. I'm not like always into like medical shows or anything like that, but I've heard that this one is kind of a step above some. I've been curious to check that one out for sure. The studio, though, I mean, I talked about that a couple months ago, maybe, that I watched through it all, and I love it so much. I think it's great, and I was happy to see that it won. I know that and Hacks are kind of the two big ones. Jean Smart and Hannah Einbinder won for actress and supporting actress. It had kind of been running the gamut the past couple of years on like Best Comedy Series and writing, directing, all that stuff. So that's kind of the fun flow of the Emmys, is like seeing a new show come in, like the shiny new thing. It's like, oh, the studio, like, that's cool. It's about movie making. It's about the industry, which, Emmy and Oscar voters love that shit. So great to see that. Love seeing Seth Rogen getting awards for stuff like just coming from you and I growing up of Pineapple Express and Superbad and whatever.
Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Green Hornet. An underrated, awesome movie.
No, it's not underrated.
With Christoph Waltz.
No, it's bad.
I
it's not
like
a good
that movie a lot.
It's not a good movie.
I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie. I saw that movie in theaters and thought it was just awesome, and then everyone told me it was bad, and I'm like, no, it's not. And I still have that same stance of like, it's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah,
I really like that movie. Is there a show that, because you are more the TV person out of the two of us, is there a show, aside from Adolescence, and I'd say aside from the studio, that I should look to catch up on, that you think maybe won big or maybe was snubbed? Anything that you think I may be missing out on?
I mean, you've seen Severance, which I know we talked about that in depth a little while back. You've seen Andor. So really like those two. I think Studio and Adolescence are great. I loved seeing Adolescence kind of run the table almost, besides Kristen Miliotti's win for the Penguin, which is very deserved. Adolescence it's a quick watch. I mean, it's 4 episodes and they're each like an hour long. So
I will say, seeing the reaction to Stephen Graham winning and the people around him just fucking mauling him, I was like, this is good. I haven't seen the show. This is well worth it. Like, to see people filled with that much excitement and other people surrounding them, supporting them in that way, I'm like, awesome. This is perfect. He deserves it, 100%.
Yeah, no, he's incredible in that show. I was kind of rooting for Colin Farrell, just because Stephen Graham isn't in every episode of Adolescence, which already it's only 4 episodes, so it's kind of cutting down on his time a little bit, but still happy to see it. It's kind of like the Baby Reindeer of last year, where it's just kind of sweeping everything, and I love that show too. Kind of the last big thing I wanted to mention is The Late Show with Stephen Colbert won Best Talk Series after it got canceled. So there was a big, everyone was happy in the audience for that.
I did like his speech. The America, I love you. Like, not to be too political, not to, like, obviously they were getting canceled, and Stephen Colbert, I think that he showed a lot of grace within that speech. So I was like, you know what? That's a great speech. That's a very, like, I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to take the positive road based on my situation that I'm within. So I really liked his speech, too.
Yeah.
When I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't watch the award show, a lot of it is the day after, where I get to hear about things, and then I, like, seek out specific speeches. Again, I already mentioned Tremel Tillman, but Stephen Colbert's I really did love, too.
Yeah. So a solid show. Nate Bargatze was the host for the show. I think he did fine. I don't know. The host is kind of, to me, like...
It's a thankless role.
It's whatever. And they did a thing this year, which I like part of it. They mentioned, like, at the top, there's a budget for the Boys and Girls Club of America. We have $100,000. Anytime somebody goes over 45 seconds for their speech, they're going to, like, take money away from that. If you're under this speech, they'll add money onto it. I actually sort of like that idea, to kind of keep that in people's minds, to not be Adrian Brody at the Oscars and just go and go and go and go.
I've been here before.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
Yeah, okay.
Settle down.
I like it, but yeah, let's relax. But I like the idea. The one thing I didn't like is that was really the only bit that Nate Bargatze did all night. So he would just, every time they went back to him, he was like, all right, where are we at with the money? And there wasn't much else there. And then early on in the show, they did it, and they kind of stopped, which I think was a good choice. But they showed the total dropping as people were in their speeches. So you're looking at that instead of hearing their genuine, like, thank you to this person, person. And they stopped doing it, which was good. But
some of the best moments of these people's lives, and we're going to cut away from it. Yeah.
And like, not just like kind of seeing the total dropping as they're doing it. I'm like, we can talk about it after if you want to do that as a bit. But overall, I think it was good. The In Memoriam, Lainey Wilson and Vince Gill, I thought did a good job. Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen won some Bob Hope humanitarian awards, which is, they're phenomenal. I like seeing that. So overall, very happy. I love a lot of the shows that I've watched. I haven't, didn't see all the shows that were nominated, but Severance, Andor, The Studio, Adolescence, The Penguin, just a lot of shows I love from this past year of TV. Got a lot of big awards. It spread the love. I like seeing that. So it's cool. I love the Emmys. It's kind of the kickoff to award season, and then getting into movies later this year. So loved watching it. It was a busy night of watching the Vikings and then watching my recorded version of the Emmys. So
no, that's nice. I'm happy that you got some enjoyment out of the Emmys, because I'm sure that if you're anything like me, you fucking want to put a gun in your mouth watching the Vikings play last night.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was not good. But I'll have to definitely check out Adolescence. Like I said, I'm hopeful, and I love my wife, but she's going out of town this weekend, so maybe I'll be able to sit down and watch a show to completion, especially Adolescence that's 4 hours long, maybe. So I'll be able to finish that in one sitting. Depends on how lazy I am. But I'm really excited. So a lot of, again, I don't know a lot about the Emmys, but seeing a lot of like people being celebrated for their works, it's just something that brings joy to me. So seeing a lot of the speeches has been a real highlight of the Emmys and kind of these coming days after them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Into some other movie news that we have. A little bit of an update on Avengers Doomsday. We got our first official look at Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, which... that was him in the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah,
in the post-credit scene.
That's cool.
So we kind of speculated. I think at first we were kind of like, that's not actually
it could
him.
be a stand-in. Like, you're going to pay Robert Downey Jr. to show up for a day.
And then the Russo brothers are like, no, we directed that. That's him. I'm like, love it. That's cool.
Thank you.
Not too much. It looks like Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
So it looks cool. I'm excited.
I think so far from this promo material, it looks the best live-action representation of him that we've gotten. Not to say that some of the other versions that we've already previously gotten in film hasn't looked like Dr. Doom. I'm just like, yeah, this looks like a comic-accurate new representation of Dr. Doom, and I support it. That's also coming from a fan of Fantastic who likes Toby Kebbell's Dr. Doom in that movie.
Ugh.
So, take my fucking opinion with a grain of salt, because
it's just melted in that movie. It's just melted shit.
And I like it.
Yeah.
But I do really like this. I'm excited to see it in movement, obviously with Robert Downey Jr. I'm interested. I'm sold. I kind of want... if we could not get a trailer to a movie and just have the movie come out, I would happily go to Avengers Doomsday without a trailer and be so excited to see whatever the fuck they have in store for that movie. Obviously, we'll get a trailer. We're going to get trailers and other promo art and leaks, and maybe another fucking chair gate where we get a bunch of chairs announcing more cast members for this movie. But I would happily go into this movie as blind as hell after now seeing kind of what their representation of Dr. Doom is. I'm already excited. I just want to be shown the movie now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm next, yeah. I was like, why aren't you fucking talking? Anyways, the next news story we have is Henry Cavill did encounter an he became injured during a pre-production training for this new Highlander movie coming from Amazon and MGM Studios. During this Highlander reboot, like I said, he encountered an injury that will now likely delay the production until early next year, 2026. The film is still coming and directed by Chad Stahelski and written by Michael Finch, and will also star Russell Crowe, Marissa Abela, Karen Gillan, Digimon Hansu, and Dave Bautista. I'm super excited for this movie. I haven't seen much in terms of the story revolving around his injury and the severity of it, but if they're willing to delay production, because I think that they're going into production relatively soon this fall, now to move it back almost a full season, which you could, there's Christmas and Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's going to halt or stall production at all. I'm excited for this movie. This is a movie that has, for a long time, to me, felt so out there and fake that now that we have a cast assigned to it, it's starting to feel real. I'm not super tied to this franchise where I'm like, I need this movie right now. I'm more of the line of I'm excited for this movie whenever I get it. Obviously, I want Henry Cavill to be okay because that man is fucking awesome. He isn't my favorite Superman, but he is perfect as Superman, I will say that. And I also really like him in Immortals from 2011. And I don't think...
What a pull.
What a pull. No one really talks about Immortals. I think that movie's awesome.
What, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
Also a really
good in that.
fun, engaging war film. Him and Alan Richardson are really fun in that movie. But obviously I hope for his well-being and for his betterment as he kind of heals through this injury. I haven't seen a lot of specifics as to what the injury is. But if it's to delay this film so much... kind of leaves some question as to what's going on, but I'm excited. I have faith in the cast and team behind the screen, so I'm really excited for this film. I just hope that everything kind of goes according to plan now after this injury and everyone's okay. Yeah. So whenever we get it, I'm excited.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise to maybe give you more time to just refine the script and get everything over. Sometimes that can be a bad thing too, of thinking too much about the script and trying to tinker with things that you don't need to. So, very curious. I love the original Highlander. I grew up with those movies, so I'm excited.
The Quickening?
Highlander 2, The Quickening. Yeah. I think
favorite movie of all time?
I think so. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, that and Spring Breakers, probably. I know you love that movie. I bring it up all the time.
The best movie ever.
Yeah,
I love Spring Breakers. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Into another bit of news, some rumors floating around that Paramount may be buying Warner Brothers. Paramount just finalized a merger with Skydance a couple weeks ago, and they're in talks to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. And I don't know how much there is to it. I know David Zaslav is the head of Warner Brothers is really wanting it to be the perfect offer for it to work out. I personally hope that it doesn't happen. I like having different movie studios. I don't like everything being one big conglomerate. We saw it with Disney buying Fox in 2019, and then even with streaming, everything is kind of merging together, which we sort of expected. But I like having separate studios. I don't want everything to be. I don't want there to be 2 or 3 big conglomerations of just studios. That makes it less interesting.
You'd rather go to a movie like Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
See 42. Production.
Yeah, I mean it's it's the little studios. It's the little movies that could. I like seeing that. I don't want it to just be all right, well, you have one of 3 choices of what you can make a movie from now. It's no, I want different things. So I personally am not really hoping for this. I think it's kind of inevitable down the road, even if this doesn't specifically happen soon. I think things like this will probably start happening in the near future.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I agree with Corey. I don't really... it's weird to think that Paramount would own Warner Brothers. And not that to say that, Warner Brothers would become obsolete and it would just all become a Paramount brand and we'd lose, the iconography of Warner Brothers. But, I like having all these different studios like Lionsgate and some of these, more smaller studios that are willing to kind of put money out to make something special. I was really kind of trepidatious when Disney bought 21st Century Fox. We've gotten a lot of cool things out of that with the Marvel Universe and kind of Alien now and what's going on in kind of current pop culture media. So it's there's benefits that could be there, but I I don't need it. Like, I feel like it's just more of a vie for controlling one streaming, but also like these major IPs. It's like I don't necessarily need that. I would much more prefer a more scattered, like there's 8 different major companies as opposed to maybe just 2, especially if Disney just continues to scare the living shit out of me with every waking year where they acquire more and more. I don't need 2 companies to rule everything. And I like Paramount. I like Warner Brothers. I like them the way that they are currently. I don't know if there's a lot of benefits or negatives that would come with Paramount acquiring Warner Brothers in the future, but I like the way things are now. And as a human being, I'm afraid of change. I don't need Paramount to own Warner Brothers, but we'll see. I know, yeah, like what you said with David Zaslav, kind of looking for kind of the best offer. I know Paramount was like, hey, cash, here you go, like we'll take it, and it's like, stop it, just fucking leave it, move away. But I think it will kind of be a big thing about controlling different popular IP and the discussions of kind of where HBO is and where the DC universe is, and also the NFL and representation of that, and where that kind of broadcasts will be something that's kind of in the conversation. So it's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff up in the air. I'd be fine with nothing to be developed from this and just to keep them separate, but I feel like it might lean into Paramount taking and acquiring Warner Brothers. So I guess we'll see in the coming days or maybe weeks what is made of this. The last news story, which is a weird news story, which hopefully we'll breeze over quick because I need to piss. Michael Caine, awesome actor, famous for many roles. Get Carter, also an Italian Job, also in many Christopher Nolan collaborations.
Get Carter was the first movie?
Not that I thought of? Yeah. Chris, okay, shut up. Okay, I know I said I need to piss, but now we're going to spend time on this. That's a bar. Get Carter was a movie that I, as a massive Sylvester Stallone fan, was super excited to watch. I think it was like 2000s. I don't fucking remember. It was a Sylvester Stallone action movie called Get Carter. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then I found out Get Carter was a remake of another movie called Get Carter, starring Michael Caine. And I'm like, that's awesome. Watch that movie. It's way better than the Sylvester Stallone one. And not only that, I watched for the first time the original The Italian Job, which is actually a really whimsical and fun movie. Not to be a jackass, but it doesn't hold a candlelight to the Mark Wahlberg Italian Job.
That movie's so much fun.
The remake is honestly,
it's a good time.
I think it's better than the original.
Yeah.
But Michael Caine, he's Alfred. He's in everything. He's in Dunkirk. No, he's not. He's in Interstellar. That's what I was thinking, where he's talking about science and space travel. But regardless, he has been in retirement because this man is old, but he is great. And you know what else is great? Vin Diesel in The Last Witch Hunter. So you know what? We're going to get a sequel to that dog shit fucking movie with Vin Diesel.
Did you see it?
No.
I haven't either.
I've heard nothing but horrendous things. But also it's a Vin Diesel-led action movie outside of the Fast and the Furious franchise, so I can only give it so much credit and forgive so much bullshit. I've heard nothing but bad things about it. I remember seeing the poster and being like, you know what, this could be cool, and then I heard nothing but bad things, which I know I'm jumping the gun. I haven't seen it. I shouldn't be able to have an opinion, but if you're listening to me, I'm sorry. I have an opinion, and I think it looks like shit. I love Michael Caine. He's, 92 right now. He doesn't need to keep acting. And you know what? He especially doesn't need to continue his acting career within a sequel to maybe one of the worst critically received movies he's ever been in, which is The Last Witch Hunter from Vin Diesel. Maybe I'll go see The Last Witch Hunter. Maybe I'll revisit that. Again, it's not revisit, it's visiting for the first time. Maybe I'll watch The Last Witch Hunter and see how important and integral this character played by Michael Caine is to this world. And be able to justify him coming out of retirement at the age of 92 for a sequel. Don't know if that's going to be the case, but I'll visit it for the first time. Who knows?
I remember hearing about that movie kind of COVID-y times,
The
Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah, it's like 2019, 2020, something
kind of in that time. So like I was always curious about it, and just you know what you're getting with a Last Witch Hunter movie. But
I've heard nothing but like just the worst thing. Did you look it up?
Look what up?
When it came out?
I think it was like 2019 or 2020.
2015.
No, that was
Last Witch Hunter
with Vin Diesel. Came out in 2015.
Which movie am I thinking? Oh, you know what I was thinking of?
Bloodshot?
Bloodshot. I was thinking of that movie. Okay. I was getting confused. Yeah, my bad. I was thinking of Bloodshot.
2015. So they're not only
That
are
makes
they
sense.
bringing Michael Caine out of retirement, but for a sequel 11 years in the making, which in reality has been 10 minutes in the making, they're like, we should maybe bring Michael Caine back for this.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? You don't bring me back. I'm fine. Oh, you're gonna back up a Brinks truck full of money to my fucking house? Okay, fine. I'll come back.
I was thinking Bloodshot this whole time.
No.
Wrong on my part, but they seem sort of similar.
What's your favorite Vin Diesel movie that's not Saving Private Ryan outside of the the Fast and the Furious franchise?
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Okay, well it's not okay. I don't want to put more caveats in it, but like outside of the franchise, outside of the Guardians of the Galaxy, like is it Riddick? What Vin Diesel led action franchise or movie? Triple X. State of the Union was Ice Cube. The Return of Xander Cage. What else?
I do.
Tooth Fairy? No, he was in that.
Really going through it right now. I do enjoy the Chronicles of Riddick. And Pitch Black. I do like those two
Pitch Black
movies.
is good.
He's not like a lead player in a lot of movies, so it's kind of tough. Like The Pacifier, is that what you want me to say?
That's what I meant. When I said Tooth Fairy. See, everything he does is generic, derivative.
The Iron Giant?
Bullshit.
I don't know.
Okay, well that's actually good.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry if you're an audio listener or podcast listener, you just heard me throw my elbow down.
Yeah.
But Iron Giant is objectively great.
It's good. It's good stuff.
It's great. Not to just shit on Vin Diesel, but anything outside of the Fast and the Furious franchise, at least as of now, has been ass. And for this franchise or this movie that thinks it's a franchise can bring Michael Caine out of retirement is just surprising and hilarious to me.
We're gonna need some subtitles because in like Tenet and Interstellar, Michael Caine, a little tough to understand sometimes. It's like, ooh, this is important things that I'm not getting right now.
that you can also blame a little bit on Christopher Nolan.
On the sound mixing,
loud as the background noise is so loud, and the dialogue is so loud. Probably the size of tangerine.
Michael Caine like dying in Interstellar. You're like, oh no, this is like important to like your formula for this movie. What is it? What are you saying?
Theaters don't have captions.
Like, holy shit! What is this?
Anyway, I need to pee. Thank you for sitting down and having some liquor drinks with us. You probably didn't drink as much as me, at least in terms of alcohol by volume, just because I am a lightweight and 8.5% is a death sentence, and I had 2 of these. So apologies for you listening to us or watching us and had to deal with my fucking weird Simlish chat that I did. But if you're a fan of us, if you support us in any way, please feel free to venture out, look into our TikTok or Instagram for more in-depth movie reviews and movie news. We try to share as much. I need to post a review for The Long Walk. I really did dig that movie, but that movie also made me very sad, so I didn't post a review. But we'll get those eventually. We'll also be back hopefully next week, maybe on Sunday, maybe on Monday. Who knows? There's not really a real structure to this. We're still figuring it out, even though it's like episode, 46 of...
I got a notification that last week was our 50th episode. So...
No shit.
Yeah. We did some, like, a Christmas episode, some Oscar stuff. So last week was 50. This is 51.
That's crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, for fucking what? How many weeks is 50? Wait. How many?
We do this once a week.
Shut up. I know we do this once a week. 50 weeks is how much time? 52 weeks is a year.
And
we're at 46 weeks.
We started this in November of last year on election night. It was our first one. So we're coming up on a year of doing this.
Okay.
But yeah, so about, an episode a week. So a few outliers in there of top 10s of the year and all that kind of stuff. Right, so it's a fun little achievement.
Yeah, thanks for tolerating us thus far. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
For Mason and I, it's late night. That's a wrap.